Inside your edge guide box, you will find the T-bar, the narrow bar, the edge guide base plate, the spacer, and 6 adhesive dots. Next, we're going to install the adhesive dots on the back of the base plate. I'm going to use the textured side on the front, so I'm going to put my adhesive dots on the back. You remove the dots, put one next to the slot, put one on the end, and put the third one. Generally, I put the third one on top of the P so that they are spaced throughout the tool. Then use the tabs to remove the protective paper, and you will see that you are left with your clear adhesive dots. This is called nano tape or gecko tape, and I love it because it does not leave any residue. So when you put it on your machine, it will come off cleanly. You can peel it off. It's kind of like putty, and you can peel it off and you can put it back on the tool and reuse it if necessary. Now that we have our adhesive dots, we're going to set the tool aside for a moment. Next, you need to decide which presser foot you will be using most often, because this has an impact on how you install your edge guide tool. If you use the standard foot that comes with your machine, you can put the T-bar up against the edge of it and your edge guide will be perfectly positioned. If you want to use a 1/4 inch foot like this one with a little notch in it, then you will be positioning the edge guide right next to that notch, right up in there, and that will give you your perfect 1/4 inch alignment. First, I'm going to show you how to align the tool using the regular J foot or whichever standard foot came with your machine. The reason that I like using this J foot the best is because it has maximum coverage under the feed dogs. When I put this on here, it covers all feed dogs, and I have maximum coverage of the fabric when it's being pulled through, and that gives me the most even stitches and best results possible. Put the presser foot on your machine and notice that the needle is centered on the presser foot, and the 1/4 inch is not actually at the edge. The 1/4 inch is in a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to press the button that moves the needle over, so now the needle is exactly 1/4 inch from the edge of the foot. And that allows us to press to put our edge guide against the presser foot, and we know that we have a perfect 1/4 inch seam. When positioning the base plate onto my machine, I want to make sure that I'm not interfering with any of the sewing machine functions. For example, I do not want to cover this switch because I need to have access to this so that I can open my faceplate. I also don't want to cover my faceplate because I need to be able to get in there to clean it. So I'm going to position my base plate so that it is away from the lever and also away from the faceplate. So it's going to be approximately here, and my T-bar will be approximately here. I'm going to take this away so that I can put it where it belongs, and hold it against the foot so that it's nice and straight, and hold it steady, and then take my base plate that has the adhesive dots on it, turn it over, and I'm going to position it right here. I don't want to cover the base plate, so I'm going to move it over just a little and put it down and press. I can still use my lever. There's a diagonal line back here that gives it space so that it can function underneath there. And I have my T-bar up against the edge of my main foot, my main presser foot. And so now I have a perfectly straight line that will give me a 1/4 inch seam. One thing I want to draw your attention to is, notice this is the 1/4 inch line on my machine. The reason that this is not on the 1/4 inch line from the machine is because we moved the needle over to its 1/4 inch position. This 1/4 inch is measured from the center of the presser foot, and we have our needle in the 1/4 inch position. So this line no longer is relevant. So, but our edge guide is at exactly a 1/4 inch. If I want to stitch a 3/8 inch seam, I just move over 1 notch. If I want to be 1/2 inch, I move over 1 more notch, and I can go right back to a 1/4 inch, no problem. If you decide that you don't want to use your standard foot and you want to use the 1/4 inch foot with the hip, I call it, this little notch. If you decide you want to use this foot instead, you put it down and you can see that we had aligned the 1/4 inch with the needle in the 1/4 inch position. You have to be very careful though. This foot requires your needle to be in the center position. I would break a needle if I tried to use it with this foot right now. I need to move my needle back over to center. So now when I move my needle over to center, I am no longer at a 1/4 inch from the edge of the foot. And so this does not work properly. So what we're gonna have to do is we're going to take our edge guide base off of the machine and reposition it. It's easy to do, no problem. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take 2 hands and twist the tool. This time when I twisted it, all 3 stickers came off. Sometimes a sticker will remain on the sewing machine bed and you just peel it up. It's no problem. These things are like putty, and I want to show you real quick that they are like putty. They're kind of sticky like putty and gummy. They pull like taffy, and so you can lift them up and you can put them back on your tool and reuse them many times. They're wonderful. And you have an extra 3 in case something happens and they get dirty and you can't use them anymore. So what you're gonna do is, now that you've lifted up your tool, you are going to put the edge guide, right up into that notch. Hopefully you can see. Right here here's the edge of the foot, and here is that little hip that I call it from the foot. So we're gonna put the edge guide T-bar so that it is right flush against that and nice and straight. So it is exactly a 1/4 inch from the needle, and the needle is in its center position. That's very important. So as we have this positioned, we're going to use 2 fingers to hold it in place, and then we're going to pick up our base plate with the adhesive attached, and we're going to slowly set this down and press it. Remember, we put it so that it is not on our base plate. We don't want to interfere with the base plate. And there you have it. It is perfectly in alignment. So when you stitch, it's perfectly aligned. So when you stitch, you will have exactly 1/4 inch as you're stitching. In this case, the edge guide base is a little more over the lever than it was previously, but again, because there is this opening underneath, there's this angled opening, I can still, I'm going to remove this, I can still use my lever and get into my machine. It's very important that you can still get into your machine, and we can. That's part of the reason that we have this bevel. Another part of the reason that we have the bevel is so that when you're stitching, it's not in the way. So if you are sewing something large that comes over to the right of your needle and you're not using your edge guide, you can just stitch right over this without any problem. And the only time that I actually remove this is when I am free motion quilting or when I'm using my embroidery unit. Those are the only 2 times that I actually remove my edge guide.